became a judge for, I guess, a lot of reasons. It's a role where you can give a service to the community by your sense of right and wrong. I really did want to make the world a better place. I think punk rock's one of the greatest musical genres because it is direct, immediate, conveys a message that can't be ignored because it's loud.
Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy,
They're called the Sex Pistols, and they're hardly your average rock and roll band, but they do represent everything that is punk rock today. The lead singer, Johnny Rotten, often spits and swears on stage, and it's not unusual for the fans to fight amongst themselves while he sings for them. To them, punk rock is music from the streets. But if you're wondering if it's going to take on in a big way here, it's worth remembering that the quiet streets of Adelaide are a long, long way from the streets of London. The message of punk rock is violence and anarchy, and it's a message which has got Adelaide radio stations on the defensive.
In Adelaide in the 1970s, there was no music on the radio that had any meaning to me. It was pop, it was disco, it was lengthy guitar solos, who knows what they were all about. And it was just nothing that resonated to me as a young person.
I don't think Australia's ready for the punk rock image.
And here's the antichrist of punk in Adelaide. This guy's Bob Francis, who is head of one of the main music stations here. And let's just listen to his complete failure to understand the genre.
I've gone around to all the announcers here and said, you know, what do you think of it? And they hate it. They don't like it. It's not part of our image. If other stations want to play it and it becomes a number one record, well, that's fine. But I think everyone has a particular standard to follow in certain music, and I think that we have the right to be able to say, I don't like that particular standard of music, and therefore I don't think we'll play it.
He had a personal vendetta against us. He instructed his radio station not to play us under any circumstances and not to play any punk.
I'd like to bring one point up. The names of groups in punk rock. There are Sex Pistols, Stranglers, Boomtown Rats, Backstabbers. And the one group that really burned a fire inside me was, they've got a group in Sydney, I believe, called the Beaumont Children. Now, that really disgusts me.
There was never a band called the Beaumont Children. That's a fabrication. You know, the man was an idiot, a complete idiot.
You're watching Black Chrome, the only punk rock group TDT was able to find in Adelaide. And as you might have already guessed, they play just as loud and just as aggressively as all the others. But because of that, they haven't worked for 2 months. They can't get bookings because they say that as soon as they mention the words punk rock, nobody wants to know them.
That song is called Backstreet Club. It's about an idealised place where you could play distorted music. We couldn't get a gig anywhere because we were playing punk, and then we were regarded therefore as sort of terrorists and dangerous, or just with fear and ignorance.
I don't know what goes on in their little minds. I think they think it's loud and extreme and will have a bad reputation, because the people who control discos are normally fairly middle-aged people who've got their own set opinions about music, which go back 15 years, and that's why you get Little Tony coming in and doing Elvis Presley of 20 years ago. It means that there's nothing new coming towards people. There's those bands, because they're recycling all the old things, there's no today, there's no frustrations of today coming out in the music.
The only place we could regularly play in South Australia were these stoned hippies who had these bijou festivals in the Adelaide Hills, and there'd be people called Starshine up there, and they'd be blowing bubbles and making alpaca jumpers, which was the antithesis of our music, but to their eternal credit, they accepted whoever wanted to play.
The music is violent, though I'm very against violence myself. It's violent in its expression to make people take notice.
To take notice of what? What sort of message are you trying to get across?
Well, mainly the regimentation of our everyday lives, not just in that we have to go to school, but the media and the newspapers and education forms every one of us into little roles. There's a little role for mummy when she grows up to have a kid and settle down and take care of everyone.
So there's me talking about gender roles in 1977, and nothing much has changed. We've still got inequality, we've still got gender roles being enforced on people.
A man is not allowed to show emotion. He's got to be cool and he's got to be hard, and he can never feel anything. He's got to be, sun-bronzed on the beach like the commercials tell him he's got to be.
Oh, I'm amazed at how little my thinking has changed. I still have a completely black and white view of morality and right and wrong, and I'm still as cross about what's wrong with the world as I was then. When we were on This Day Tonight in December 1977, that was the only time we were on television thanks to the ABC. We were on television that weekend, and by the following week, the rest of the band had gone. Fast forward to the year 2000, I basically put together the band again with my cousin and my nephew. And so, in a slightly bewildering way, we are now this cult band. It's quite surreal, and it's great though that finally, being hated and ignored all that time ago, people are appreciating the art that we created.
We are tomorrow. Yeah.